everything's fine on 93.9 Dublin South FM.
Now, what Sharad has just mentioned, responsibility, integration, and visibility, because you see, the issue is that we Indians are brown skin, Caucasian looking people rather than the white, so-called in Britain and Ireland and all these places and Europe in general, when you are particularly a white person, and we are non-white people. So this is a racial thing, and this is not a new thing. When I came to England in the 80s, the racism card has been talked about it quite a lot, and it has been. But then, this issue of lack of integration and Indians, hardworking Indians, professional Indians, doing good in their own world, in their own profession, whether it's doctors, medicine, medical doctors in the hospitals, nurses. All of that, it makes it very, 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 a distinguished existence, and with a strong culture. And that's where I come in to bring the Indian culture into the into a country, a place where it has been considered as one of the most attractive, element. Apart from that, there's a lot of, the culture items that takes place in the festivals of Indian festivals, around Diwali, around Holi. All of that attracts a curiosity among the local indigenous community. But they take it with a pinch of salt because it's not their culture. It's our culture, and therefore this radio program, Apna Radio, which I try to do it in English rather than in an Indian or Hindi language or anything like that. It is a significant contribution to the society we live in, and that is, in integrating at mass media level, because in mass media, I have never experienced any racism. I've experienced the covert, unspoken racism, institutional racism, all of that. But I've never, experienced anything on my face. Perhaps I'm not as brown. I'm fairly skinned person, and I could be mistaken by Spanish or Italian or European. So personally speaking, no. But yes, a recent phenomena in Ireland, I'm talking about literally recent last six months, that isolated incidents are happening by the youth, in fact, because the Irish youth have got a significant advantage. Under 17, there's a laws which exempt them from severe prosecution and jail terms and all that, because that's what it is. The juvenile laws are very sort of like soft on youth. So therefore, they are misbehaving with even the local police. And there was a television series called Young Offenders, when they were actually throwing rocks and petrol bombs on police cars. So they have no respect for that. And of course, we have endemic drug problem. We have endemic drink problem. All of that makes it more cruel. And now, because they are watching youth and young students walking around the streets, speaking loud on the speakerphone and backpack and jamming the buses and public transportation, that is really aggravating the anger among the youth people. That who are these people? Why are they invading here? Why they're coming here? And that is a big question, that why Indians are coming into the different countries. When the British were there, you kicked their backside and killed them, and violently you threw them out, and there was a revolution that no colonial English person should exist in India. So now, if India has not succeeded economically in a big way, it has progressed, so to speak, it has developed, but it's not as advanced as the European nation, like social welfare, like universal, help, employment terms and conditions, basic minimum wages, all of that exists in Europe and perhaps in Australia and all those places. India has failed to do so. India is still unemployed, is still hungry, is still starving, still people don't have housing crisis. And the corruption of the country is so high that people have lost conscience. People take advantage of each other's, people abuse each other's, and within the family, outside the family, all of that is happening in the Indian culture, which is appalling, which is literally is appalling. Why it is? Because perhaps they do not have intellectual education. I am sucker for intellectual education, not the education. Okay, academically you could be achieve your whatever you are, engineer, doctor, whatever, scientist, and all that. But as an intellectual individual, which you are working, I work in the field of art and broadcasting, and that is my profession. I trained as an actor for 4 years in London, and then I worked in the media sector. I still work in the films and television sector. I was sort of like a part of the major television series in Ireland, like Fair City, like The Bailout, like many other series that I did, television series, which is available on IMDb if you want to watch and feature films, indeed, the big feature films like Halal Daddy, and all that with Disney Studio Film in Disenchanted. I never actually have experienced discrimination, to be honest with you. Why? Because I speak proper English, not Indian Peter Sellers English. So Indians coming abroad must be prepared to live a decent life if they can improve their speaking power, if they can improve their communication, if they can improve their presence. They are dirty looking. Yes, absolutely. They have no sense of dress. The dressing up, reasonably, all of that. I'm not criticizing, but I'm observing all of that, because observation is everything. So if you want to come and live in a European country, learn what are the basic norms of those countries are. Then when you engage with the public, they're lying, they're cheating, they're doing all sorts of things. That is another disadvantage area. Yes, they're hardworking. Of course, as I said, you cannot go into any hospital without, the nurses from Kerala, which has been another big controversial issue, which I'll talk about at some other time, because it came to my attention that is going on there as well. So what can I say? I mean, this is something which is very disturbing. It happened in Australia. It happened in Canada. It happened in all those places. And that is creating a massive problem. And UK has always been, because Ireland has a visibility of, the non-Indian people who are visibly different from the other people. So that is, as I said, it is creating some sort of a impact. It is creating some sort of a disturbed impact, should I say, and attacks on children or youth, mainly students, I would say, not professional people that much. But all of that is making many issues but response from the Irish government has been phenomenal. From the president himself, Michael D. Higgins, to the Garda Síochána, the head of the police, the newly appointed commissioner, ministers, deputy ministers, prime ministers, all of them, and of course the press and the media, has always been very, very supportive to the Indian community. Why? Because Indians are working very hard and running the economy of this country, paying taxes and contributing to the nation. So because of that, the system is supporting, the immigration, the Minister of Immigration, Jim O'Callaghan, who is a friend of mine, and I've spoken to Jim about many issues. This is kind of things are all supporting the Indian community, but they have to it's a two-way street, as they say. If you want a pleasant existence, you have to learn to behave pleasantly as well where you're living. And try to be just cautious of the fact that be sensitive towards the indigenous community. Don't be too loud on their faces, socialist spaces like buses, luas, local trains, and all that. And just be civilized, and learn what is the norm of the nation. Anyway,
Everything's fine on 93.9 Dublin South FM.